Good morning, good people. Let me tell you something. Life is going to knock you down. That's a fact. There ain't a person in this world who hasn't been through something that made them feel broken, lost, or stuck. But listen to me. Being down is one thing. Staying down is another. Life has a way of throwing unexpected challenges at us. Sometimes those challenges leave us feeling broken, disappointed, or even stuck in a place we never imagined ourselves to be. It's easy to hold on to the past, replaying old mistakes, reliving painful moments, or carrying around regrets like they define who we are. But the truth is, the past is exactly that, the past. It has already happened. And no matter how much we dwell on it, we can't go back and change it. What we can do is decide how much power we continue to give it over our present and our future. Many people walk through life carrying burdens that should have been left behind long ago. Maybe it's a failure that shook your confidence. Maybe it's a betrayal that hardened your heart. Maybe it's a dream you had to let go of, and you feel like life cheated you out of something you deserved. Whatever it is, it can feel impossible to move forward when your mind is still stuck in what could have been or what should have happened differently. But here's the hard truth. Holding on to those things isn't making anything better. It's only weighing you down, keeping you from building something new. Think about it like this. If you were rebuilding a house after a storm, you wouldn't use the broken, rotting wood from the wreckage. You wouldn't take shattered glass and try to force it back into the windows. You would clear out the damage, make space for something stronger, and start fresh with better materials. Yet, in life, so many people try to rebuild themselves while still holding on to the wreckage of their past. They let old pain shape their decisions. They let past failures dictate their confidence. They allow yesterday's struggles to have a say in today's progress. That's why so many never truly move forward. They're trying to build a new life while still dragging around the weight of the old one. Letting go isn't about pretending things didn't happen or acting like they didn't hurt. It's about understanding that pain, mistakes, and failures are not permanent marks on your identity. They are lessons, experiences, and moments in time, not definitions of who you are. When you refuse to let go, you are choosing to stay attached to something that no longer serves you. You are giving your past permission to control your future. That is a choice, and at any moment you can make a different one. A lot of people struggle with letting go because they think doing so means what happened no longer matters. That's not true. It mattered, it shaped you, but it does not have to define you. You are not your worst day. You are not the mistake you made. You are not the heartbreak you suffered. You are not the opportunity you missed. You are bigger than any of those things. But as long as you keep holding on to them, they will continue to hold on to you. Forgiveness is a big part of this. Some people need to forgive others, and some people need to forgive themselves. Carrying resentment, anger, or shame is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer for it. It only eats away at you. The moment you make peace with the past is the moment you take back control of your life. That doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean you excuse anything that happened. It just means you no longer allow it to have power over your emotions, your mindset, or your future. Change can't happen until you make space for it. You cannot bring in new opportunities while you are still holding on to old disappointments. You cannot invite joy into your life while you are still dwelling on past pain. You cannot build confidence in yourself while you are still carrying the weight of every mistake you ever made. You have to be willing to put down what's behind you so you can pick up what's ahead of you. Some people say time heals everything. That's not entirely true. Time does nothing if you are still holding on to the same thoughts, the same pain, the same regrets. Healing comes when you decide to let go. Moving forward happens when you decide to stop looking back. The past is only as heavy as you allow it to be. When you stop carrying it, you free yourself to rebuild in a way that is stronger, wiser, and better than before. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It controls everything. How you see yourself, how you react to challenges, and how far you go in life. The way you think shapes your reality, whether you realize it or not. Some people don't even recognize how their own thoughts are holding them back. They wake up every day doubting themselves, focusing on what they lack and believing that success is for other people, but not for them. They've convinced themselves that they're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to achieve their dreams. But the truth is, it's not their abilities keeping them stuck. It's their mindset. Everything starts in your mind. Before you can achieve anything, you have to believe it's possible. If you don't think you can do something, you won't even try. And if you do try, you won't give it your all because deep down, you already expect to fail. That's why so many people stay in the same place year after year. They keep telling themselves the same negative stories, and those stories become their reality. But just like negative thoughts can hold you back, positive thoughts can push you forward. If you change the way you think, you change the way you live. Most people don't realize that their biggest battle is with themselves. It's not the competition, the economy, or the circumstances. It's the thoughts running through their own mind. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not qualified, you won't take the opportunities that come your way. If you keep thinking that success is only for lucky people, you won't put in the effort to create your own luck. If you believe that failure is the end, you won't take the risks necessary to win. But what if you flip that script? What if instead of doubting yourself, you started telling yourself that you are capable, that you deserve success, and that every challenge is just an opportunity to grow? Your words have power. What you speak over your life matters. Every time you say, "I can't do this," you're reinforcing that belief. Every time you say, "I'm not good enough," you're building a wall between yourself and success. But when you start speaking life into yourself, when you say, "I am strong, I will succeed, I am more than enough," you begin to rewire your thinking. You start to see yourself differently. You start to approach challenges with confidence instead of fear. You begin to attract the opportunities and people that align with your new mindset. Some people think that changing your mindset is just about being positive all the time. It's not. It's about being intentional with your thoughts. It's about training your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. It's about focusing on solutions instead of problems. It's about believing that even if things don't go your way today, that doesn't mean they won't tomorrow. It's about understanding that setbacks are just setups for comebacks. One of the biggest shifts you can make is changing how you view failure. Most people see failure as proof that they're not good enough, but successful people see failure as feedback. They see it as a lesson, a stepping stone, a necessary part of the journey. Every successful person has failed probably more times than you can count. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They learned from it, adjusted, and kept going. They didn't let one bad chapter convince them that the whole book was over. That's the mindset you need to develop if you want to rebuild yourself. Another powerful shift is learning to control your inner dialogue. That little voice in your head, your self-talk. can be your greatest enemy or your greatest ally. When something goes wrong, do you immediately start criticizing yourself? Do you tell yourself you're not good enough, that you'll never make it, that you're wasting your time? If so, you need to shut that voice down and replace it with a new one. Start talking to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. Encourage yourself. Remind yourself of your strengths. Speak to yourself with kindness and belief. The way you see yourself sets the standard for how the world sees you. If you walk into a room with confidence, people will treat you like you belong there. If you carry yourself like you are worthy of success, opportunities will start coming your way. But it all starts in your mind. You have to believe in yourself before anyone else will. You have to see your own potential before the world recognizes it. The moment you shift your mindset, you shift your entire life. Surround yourself with builders, not wreckers. In life, the company you keep determines much of your outlook and the quality of your experiences. The people who surround you can either help you grow or hinder your progress. Think of them as the architects of your environment, each one contributing to the structure of your life. If you allow those who constantly criticize, doubt, or sabotage you to remain close, they will build walls around your potential. Their negativity is like a poison that slowly seeps into your soul, dimming the brightness of your dreams and causing you to doubt your own worth. Instead, you must seek out those who uplift you, who inspire you, and who are committed to their own growth as well as yours. It is important to understand that surrounding yourself with builders means choosing people who are passionate about making progress in their lives. These individuals have a vision for their future and work diligently to transform their dreams into reality. Their enthusiasm is contagious, and when you spend time with them, you begin to adopt a similar mindset. They encourage you to take risks, learn from your mistakes, and see challenges as opportunities rather than insurmountable obstacles. Their support is not conditional. It comes from a place of genuine care and belief in your ability to succeed. In their presence, you feel empowered and motivated to push beyond your limits and to redefine what is possible for you. On the other hand, wreckers are those who bring you down with their pessimism and fear. They often dwell on past failures or focus on what you lack rather than what you have. They may project their own insecurities onto you, making you feel less than capable of achieving greatness. Their words are heavy with doubt, and their actions can be discouraging. Over time, their influence can erode your self-confidence, making it difficult for you to see the light at the end of the tunnel. They are quick to point out your flaws and remind you of your shortcomings, and if you let them, they can trap you in a cycle of negativity from which it is hard to escape. The challenge, however, lies in recognizing the difference between someone who offers constructive criticism and someone who is simply a wrecking ball. True builders may sometimes offer advice that is hard to hear because they care about your progress. They might point out a mistake or a misstep, not to tear you down, but to help you build a better version of yourself. They understand that growth often comes from facing hard truths and learning from them. Wreckers, on the other hand, have no interest in your growth. Their criticism is meant to keep you small and to maintain the status quo of your self-doubt. It is essential to discern which voices to listen to and which to let go of. Choosing to surround yourself with builders also means that you are committed to contributing to their growth as well. It is a reciprocal relationship built on mutual support, respect, and the shared goal of improvement. When you give your time and energy to those who are also striving for success, you create an environment where everyone can flourish. Your interactions become a series of building blocks, each one laying the foundation for future achievements. In such an environment, setbacks are not seen as failures, but as stepping stones on the path to success. The collective mindset is one of resilience and unwavering belief in the possibility of change. It is not always easy to identify who in your circle is a builder or a wrecker. Sometimes people you have known for years may exhibit qualities of both. The key is to pay attention to how you feel after spending time with them. Do you leave energized, inspired, and ready to tackle your next challenge? Or do you feel drained, discouraged, and uncertain about your own abilities? Your intuition is a powerful guide in these matters. It is also important to remember that you have the power to set boundaries. You can decide how much influence someone has in your life, and you can choose to limit your exposure to those who do not contribute positively to your journey. By intentionally cultivating relationships with builders, you are investing in a future that is defined by progress, hope, and limitless possibilities. This is not merely about avoiding negative influences. It is about actively creating a network of support that reinforces your belief in yourself. When you build a community of like-minded individuals, you create a space where every challenge becomes more manageable and every success is magnified by shared celebration. The influence of those around you is profound, shaping not only your mindset, but also the trajectory of your life. And when you choose to fill your circle with builders, you are setting yourself on a path of continuous improvement and unstoppable energy. It is not always easy to identify who in your circle is a builder or a wrecker. Sometimes people you have known for years may exhibit qualities of both. The key is to pay attention to how you feel after spending time with them. Do you leave energized, inspired, and ready to tackle your next challenge? Or do you feel drained, discouraged, and uncertain about your own abilities? Your intuition is a powerful guide in these matters. It is also important to remember that you have the power to set boundaries. You can decide how much influence someone has in your life and limit exposure to those who drain you. Taking action is the single most important step in transforming your life. Too many people get caught up in waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect set of circumstances before they begin. They tell themselves they need more money, more knowledge, more confidence, or more support before they can take the first step. But the truth is, waiting only leads to more waiting. There will never be a perfect time. There will always be reasons to hesitate. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people take action despite their fears, despite their doubts, and despite the uncertainty. The problem is that most people are stuck in the habit of overthinking. They analyze every possible outcome, every potential failure, and every reason something might not work. They convince themselves that they need more preparation before they can start, but what they don't realize is that action creates clarity. You will never have all the answers before you begin. You learn by doing. You grow by taking risks. Every step you take teaches you something new, something you could never learn just by thinking about it. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start, and before you know it, years have passed, and you're still in the same place, wondering what could have been. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that they need motivation to take action. They wait until they feel inspired, energized, or excited before they begin. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never be consistent. What truly creates change is discipline. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work even when you're tired, discouraged, or uncertain. The people who accomplish great things in life are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who have built the habit of taking action regardless of how they feel. Fear is another major obstacle that holds people back from taking action. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes. But fear will always be there. It never truly goes away. The key is learning to act in spite of it. The more you take action, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable. Confidence is not something you are born with, it is something you build through action. Every time you push past your fear and do something that makes you uncomfortable, you become stronger. You realize that failure is not the end, but a lesson. You begin to understand that mistakes are part of the process and that the only real failure is never trying at all. Some people convince themselves that they don't have enough time to take action. They say they're too busy with work, family, or responsibility. But the reality is, if something is important enough to you, you will find a way to make time. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference is how you use them. Successful people prioritize what matters. They don't wait until they have time to work on their goals. They make time. Even if it's just 30 minutes a day, consistent action adds up over time. Small steps taken consistently lead to massive results. Another trap people fall into is comparing themselves to others. They look at people who are already successful and feel discouraged because they're not at the same level. But what they don't see is the years of hard work, struggle, and perseverance that went into that success. Everyone starts somewhere. No one is an expert on day one. The only way to get better is to start. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, the next step becomes easier. Some people think they need a detailed plan before they take action. Planning is important, but too much planning can become an excuse for not starting. The truth is, no plan survives first contact with reality. Things will change. You will face obstacles you didn't expect. You will have to adjust and adapt as you go. But none of that matters if you never take the first step. Action leads to progress, and progress leads to results. The more you do, the more you learn, and the more confident you become in your ability to figure things out along the way. People who take action understand that failure is not a reason to quit, but a reason to improve. Every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. If you adopt this mindset, nothing can stop you. You will keep moving forward, learning, and improving until you reach your goals. But none of this happens if you stay stuck in hesitation. The moment you decide to stop waiting and start doing, everything changes. Pain is a powerful teacher. Nobody likes to go through it, but it's often the one thing that forces us to grow. When everything is comfortable, when life is easy, there's no real reason to change. But when you're hurt, when you've been knocked down, when you've lost something or someone you cared about, that's when you have to make a choice. You can either let pain break you or you can use it to build something stronger. The most successful, the most resilient people in the world aren't the ones who have never suffered. They're the ones who turn their pain into power. The reality is, pain is unavoidable. Everyone faces setbacks, disappointments, and struggles. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, life will test you. It will put obstacles in your way that seem impossible to overcome. It will take things from you that you thought you couldn't live without. It will push you to your limits and force you to confront parts of yourself you never wanted to face. But pain in itself isn't the problem. It's how you respond to it that makes the difference. Some people allow pain to destroy them. They give up. They stop trying. They let bitterness take over. They replay the same hurt over and over in their minds until it defines them. They believe the pain they've been through is proof that they can't succeed, that life is unfair, that they'll never be happy. But others take that same pain and use it as fuel. They refuse to let it define them. They take every setback as a lesson, every disappointment as motivation. They let pain shape them, not as victims, but as warriors. Pain has the ability to reveal things about you that you never would have seen otherwise. It shows you what you're capable of surviving. It strips away illusions and forces you to see what really matters. It makes you stronger, wiser, and more aware of your own resilience. The people who have been through the most often have the deepest understanding of themselves. They know their limits because they've been pushed beyond them. They know their strength because they've had to fight to rebuild themselves. Pain can make you bitter or it can make you better. The choice is yours. One of the biggest lessons pain teaches is that nothing is permanent. When you're going through something difficult, it feels like it will last forever. It feels like you'll never get past it, like the weight of it will never lift. But time proves otherwise. Think about all the struggles you've already survived. At the time, they felt overwhelming, but you made it through. And each time you came out stronger than before. That's because pain is temporary. It might last for days, weeks, even years, but it will eventually pass. What remains is the person you become because of it. Pain also forces you to grow. When life is easy, you have no reason to push yourself, no reason to dig deeper or discover new strengths. But when you're struggling, you have no choice. You have to adapt. You have to find ways to keep going, to heal, to move forward. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're tested, when you're uncomfortable, when you have to fight for a better version of yourself. If you look at the people who have achieved great things, they all have one thing in common. They have been through something that could have destroyed them, but they refused to let it. Instead, they used it to push themselves to new levels. Pain has a way of bringing clarity. It strips away distractions, illusions, and excuses. When you're hurting, you see what really matters. You realize who is truly there for you. You discover strengths you didn't know you had. You stop tolerating things that no longer serve you. It forces you to reevaluate your priorities and redefine what you want out of life. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in life come after the hardest moments. When you've hit rock bottom, the only direction left to go is up. One of the greatest things pain teaches is empathy. When you've been through struggles, you understand others in a way that people who have never suffered cannot. It gives you a deeper level of compassion, a greater ability to connect with others who are hurting. It allows you to inspire, to lift others up, to be a source of strength for someone else. Your pain isn't just for you. It can be used to help others who are going through the same thing. Pain is not something to be feared. It's not something to run from or avoid. It's something to learn from, to grow from, to use as fuel to become better. The pain you've been through does not define you, but how you respond to it does. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every loss is an opportunity to build a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself. You don't get to choose whether or not you experience pain, but you do get to choose what you do with it. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it can also be the thing that holds you back the most. The way you think determines everything. How you see yourself, how you handle challenges, how you react to failure, and ultimately what you achieve in life. Most people don't realize that they are constantly programming their own minds, whether they are aware of it or not. Every thought you repeat, every belief you hold on to, every story you tell yourself about who you are and what you can do is shaping your reality. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not lucky enough, then your mind will find ways to make those beliefs true. If you believe that success is for other people but not for you, then you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress every time you get close to something great. The mind has a way of reinforcing whatever it is trained to believe. If you have spent years telling yourself you can't do something, then you have built a habit of self-doubt that is hard to break. But just like negative beliefs can shape your reality, positive ones can do the same. The key is understanding that you have the power to rewire your mind, to train it to work for you instead of against you. It starts with awareness. Paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind on a daily basis. If you constantly hear yourself saying, I can't, it's too hard, or I'll never make it, then you need to stop and challenge those thoughts. Where did they come from? Are they really true? Most of the time, those thoughts are nothing more than old programming. things you picked up from other people, from past failures, from fear. They are not facts. Once you recognize the negative thoughts, you have to replace them. You can't just stop thinking negatively. You have to actively train yourself to think differently. That means feeding your mind with better input, reading books that inspire you, listening to people who have overcome struggles and found success, surrounding yourself with those who uplift you and push you to see your potential. It means making a habit of speaking positivity into your life even when you don't fully believe it yet. Telling yourself, I am capable, I am worthy, I can figure this out. At first, it might feel fake, like you're just saying words, but the more you repeat it, the more your mind starts to accept it as truth. The brain is wired to adapt. Whatever you feed it regularly becomes your reality. Your environment plays a big role in shaping your mindset. If you spend all your time around negativity, gossip, complaining, and doubt, then that energy is going to seep into your thoughts. But if you choose to place yourself in an environment that challenges you to grow, that encourages you to think bigger, that exposes you to new ideas, then your mind will start expanding in ways you never thought possible. Sometimes the biggest change you can make is simply deciding to limit your exposure to negativity, whether it's people, social media, or even your own bad habits. Protecting your mindset is just as important as protecting your body. Another important part of training your mind is learning to control your focus. What you focus on expands. If you spend all your time thinking about what's wrong, what you lack, what didn't work, then that's all you'll see. But if you train yourself to focus on possibilities, on solutions, on progress, then you start attracting more of those things into your life. Gratitude is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to shift your focus. When you start your day by thinking about what you're grateful for instead of what's wrong, your entire mindset changes. You stop seeing life as something that is happening to you and start seeing it as something you have control over. Fear is one of the biggest mental barriers that holds people back, and most of the time, the fear isn't even real. It's just a story the mind has created. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These are nothing more than thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. The way to overcome fear is by doing the thing you're afraid of. The more you do it, the more your mind realizes that the fear was never real to begin with. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through action. Every time you push past fear, your mind learns that you are stronger than you thought. Your mind is either working for you or against you, and the choice is yours. You can train it to focus on problems, limitations, and doubts, or you can train it to focus on growth, possibilities, and solutions. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the one in control. The moment you decide to take charge of your mindset, everything in your life starts to shift. The way you see yourself changes, the way you approach challenges changes, and most importantly, the way you show up for your dreams changes.